Hey guys and girls, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to set up OctoPI. So this is the software that you can put onto or install onto a Raspberry Pi, and it lets you control your 3D printer remotely, or allows you to upload STLs to it, do time lapses if you've got a Pi camera attached, and a few other cool things. So we're going to get started. We're going to need to download some software before I show you how to install the image and get it all set up. So the first thing we're going to need is Win32 disk imager. So we're going to download that, and that's from sourceforge.net. Okay, just wait for that to start. There we go, so that's downloading. We're going to get the OctoPI image, which is from OctoPrint. OctoPrint.org, and we want to download, and then it's the latest version is, or the version I'm going to download, which is the latest version, is 0.15.1. Download that. We are going to need PuTTY, which is a SSH client that allows us to SSH remotely into the Raspberry Pi. So we will download that, latest version 0.70. And I'm running 64-bit Windows, so I'm going to grab the exe version. Okay, and we're going to need Angry IP Scanner. And 3264-bit installer will be fine. Okay, we're just waiting for the image to finish downloading. And while that's downloading, we're going to get Notepad++. So Notepad++ is a text editor, quite a good text editor, I might add. I want the 64-bit installer. You might want the 32-bit installer, it depends what version of Windows you're running. Okay, so just waiting for those to finish downloading, and we can get started. So should have everything we need downloaded. So I've got PuTTY, I'm going to put straight onto the desktop. OctoPI, the image, I'm going to extract to the desktop. We can install the Win32 disk imager. Don't want to view the README, don't want to launch that. Finish. Okay, so we've got Win32 PuTTY image. We want Notepad++. We'll just click and follow the steps for that. Create a shortcut on the desktop. Don't want to run it. And Angry IP Scanner. So we're going to just install that one real quick. No shortcut for that, so I will grab a shortcut for that. Pop that onto the desktop. Okay. So what you want to do now is you want to grab a SD card reader. Got a nice little pink one from Poundland. Grab the SD card from your Raspberry Pi. And load that up into your SD card reader and pop that in your PC. Okay, so that's in there, and then we can run the Win32 disk imager, and we're going to burn the image to the SD card. So it's my SD card's G, so make sure you've got the right device selected. I'm going to go here and select the image, which is on my desktop, and I can open that, and then I just need to click write, and that will install OctoPi onto the SD card. Do you want to continue? Yes. Okay, and that's installing. It takes a little bit of time to write. Yeah. Okay, that's the image burnt to the SD card, so we can click OK on that, and we can click exit. Okay, so we need to set up the connectivity for the Raspberry Pi so that it can connect to our Wi-Fi network. So we're going to open the SD card, and it used to be that you configured this file here, octopi-network, but that's actually been discontinued, no longer supported. So we're going to close that, and we're going to go to octopi-wpa supplicant. Right click it and edit with Notepad++, and this file is where you configure your router settings. So I'm using WPA PA2. You might not be, you might be using Open, Unsecured or WEP. You need to check your router to see what it is you're actually using. You probably know, but yeah, make sure you're using the right one. So in here you put the SSID name of your Wi-Fi network. So when you scan for Wi-Fi networks in range, it's the name that you click to connect to. We're going to uncomment it, so take out this hash here. Comments are used to put information in that doesn't affect the configuration file, so you need to remove those. Only remove it for the ones you're using, so if you were using Open or Unsecured, you would untick those four and take out those hashes. So I'm not going to put my SSID in, I'll do that in a minute, but make sure you put it in between the quotation marks. Don't delete the quotation marks, leave them there. Some people do hide their SSID, so their router doesn't broadcast their SSID, and that can cause issues with the Raspberry Pi. So to get around that, what you need to do is you need to put in scan_SSID = 1, and that will allow it to connect to a hidden SSID. It's quite common to hide your SSID, so if people don't know there's a Wi-Fi network there, if they're scanning they can't see it, and they're not likely to try and use it or to break into it. So there we go, so that will resolve that. I'm going to put my details in, and then I'll come back to you with the next part of the video. Okay, so that is the SD card prepared. I'm going to take that out of the reader and pop it into the Raspberry Pi, and I'm going to plug the Raspberry Pi in. Okay, that's that done. After a few seconds, it should only take seconds, you should get a solid orange light on the back of the Raspberry Pi. That means your Wi-Fi is connected. If for any reason you don't get that, it probably means that your SSID is wrong, or you've put the wrong password in, or you've got MAC address filtering enabled and you haven't put the MAC address in, or something like that. So just double check your settings. That's done. So what we can do now is we can use Angry IP Scanner to scan our network to find the IP address of the Raspberry Pi. So we're just going to click start, and this will scan the entire IP range here. This should come up automatically defaulted. If it doesn't, you'll have to put an IP range in. So let's see. Close that. And let's scroll down and see. So there we go, the OctoPi is on 192.168.1.106. So we can open PuTTY and we can SSH to that. So 192.168.1.106. Now that has been assigned to the Raspberry Pi via DHCP on my router, so yours might be different. So that may not work for you, so don't try 192.168.1.106. We're going to click open, and it asks you to log in. So the username should be Pi, and the password should be Raspberry. So that's just the defaults. So we are into the Raspberry Pi, all logged in. And there's a few things we just need to tweak. So we need to elevate our privileges and go to admin. So to do that, it's sudo, and we're going to run raspi -config. Just move that out of the way so you can see raspi -config, and we'll just hit enter, and it asks you for the password again, which is just Raspberry, and what you will get up is this little graphical user interface. So we need to do a few things. The first thing I'm going to do is change the user password. So I'm going to change the password from Raspberry to something else. It will say you will now be asked to enter a new password. Just pick a new password, make it quite strong. Confirm it. Okay, password changed successfully. We need to expand the file system. So at the moment, when you install like Noobs or OctoPi onto an SD card, it only uses a very small amount. So we're using a 16 gig SSD, and at the moment probably only about 30 or 40 meg is available. So we need to expand it, and I believe that's in advanced options, and you just want to click expand file system. Root partition has been resized, so that means we've got the full amount of the SD card available to us. Under network options, we want to give it a host name, and this will be used later on if we want to get into the Raspberry Pi a bit quicker. So give it a name, it can be anything. I'm going to call it Ender 3 OctoPi because it is my Ender 3 printer and it's OctoPi, so why not? Okay, and I think we are about there. So yeah, I'm happy with that. We could do an update, but we'll do that later. I'm not overly worried. So we are going to finish, and that should be all good. Close the connection. We're going to open our web browser and navigate to the Raspberry Pi OctoPi. So it's 192.168.1.106. Now, before I press enter on that, I'm going to hook up the USB cable to the printer and into the Raspberry Pi. Okay, and turn the power on to the printer. Okay, so I'm going to navigate to OctoPi and see what happens. Okay, so we hit the OctoPi thing. It knows it's the first time it's been run, so it wants us to configure some things. So let's do that now. So it's saying, thank you for installing OctoPrint. This wizard will guide you through the final steps to get your OctoPi instance all set up and ready to go. Let's do it. So access control is where you can come up with a username and password for remote access, for example. So basically you want to make sure it's a reasonably strong password, it's going to be like your login, and will give you access to do all the stuff with the OctoPrint and control your printer and all that. Okay, so it gives some information. You can read through this. Basically it ships with access control enabled with the printer unless you log in first. So I'm going to keep that active. Okay, login successful. Click next. Configure the connectivity check. Okay, if the connectivity check is enabled, OctoPrint will regularly check if it's connected to the internet. This is useful to prevent resource intensive operations such as checking for updates. If it's already clear, they won't succeed anyway. So basically it checks that you're connected to the internet, and if you're connected to the internet, it will do like updates and stuff. So that's fine. We can leave that enabled. We can test. I think it uses the Google DNS, so that's fine. Server is reachable. That means the Raspberry Pi can get to the internet. Enable connectivity check. Yes. Click next. Plugin blacklist. Okay, to protect against known severe issues with certain versions of third-party plugins. Absolutely enable that. Click next. Cura engine. Okay, so this is setting up a slicer profile. So you can slice your models inside of OctoPrint, but there's a little bit of a problem, or a problem that I've sort of realized using OctoPrint on some of my other printers, is that if we import the profile, okay, the only compatible Cura profiles that seem to work on it is 15.04 or older. So that's quite an old version of Cura, and to be honest, I don't actually have any profiles lying around like that. I might have one at work maybe, but at the moment I haven't got one, so I'm not worried about slicing in OctoPrint. I'm happy using Cura or S3D to slice the models and then upload them via OctoPrint, so it's not really an issue at the moment. I will try and locate a profile and show you how to do the import profile and how to configure the slicer at a later date, but no promises. So we'll skip that for now. Okay. Default printer profile. So we give the printer profile names. This is my Ender 3, and it's a model. The model is Ender 3. Okay, print bed and build volume. So it's rectangular, lower left. It has a heated bed. This isn't quite right, so I think it's 235 by 235 by 250. 235 by 235 by 250. Okay, custom bounding box, you can just leave unticked. Axes all default. Hot end and extrude should be 4mm nozzle. If you've got a different nozzle on your Ender, just, or whatever printer you're using, just double check. And it's only got one extruder, so next, and we are good to go. Little safety warning: don't leave your print unattended. If you don't want to leave your print running overnight anyway, check out my other video on how to pause and stop a print and turn off the printer, because it's actually quite useful. I'll put a link in the description. So that's fine. So we're going to finish, and we are logged in, and we should be good to go. So what we can try and do is we can connect to the printer in a minute. I just want to talk you through some of the interfaces. So temperature control was where you'll see all your temperatures and if the hot end's going up or down or whatever. The control. Now I've got the my Raspberry Pi already has the Pi camera attached because I plugged it in today, just because I wanted it out of the way so it doesn't get broken. You can see it, little Pi camera here. I'll do another video to show you how to plug in the Pi camera, but as you can see, once the Pi camera is plugged in, it all works by default, which is really quite nice compared to how OctoPrint used to work, where you used to have to configure loads of stuff. Under control, you've got your move and home and everything like that. So you can auto home, you can move the X and Y axis, you move the Z axis up and down. Very useful. GCODE viewer, terminal, and time lapse. So for doing time lapses with the webcam. So let's connect and see if we can get this connected. So I'm literally just hitting connect and seeing what happens. So as soon as I hit connect, it's connected. You can see under state, operational, perfect. So we can see here it's reading from the SD card. So the I can see all my files on the SD card, which is pretty cool. I can upload. So once I've sliced an STL in Cura or S3D, I can just simply upload it here, search my computer and upload to the SD card for printing. We've got temperature control and so on. So we can turn time lapse on if we wanted, and so on and so forth. Okay, and we can see here we can get some terminal stuff going on. Let's try printing something and seeing if we can get it to print. So we should all be good to go with that. So let's just pick this one and we will hit this button here, load and print, and it's loaded it. It is stabilizing and working out what to do with the file. Oh, little octopus. Okay, give it a second. Just gonna have a look on the printer and see what's going on. So at the moment it's heating the bed. Do a little refresh if we want to see what's going on. So yeah, all logged in still, that's fine. And you can see down here that we've got the blue line. Okay, so this is the heated bed. We can see that temperature is starting to rise quite steadily. Okay, and it will give you an indication down here of where that bed's at. So at the moment it's at 34.35 and climbing. So we need that to get to about 60. The print nozzle's got to get to 195, and then it will kick off and start printing. There is an update available, so we will update that in a second. There is a little bug in this actually, and if I haven't quite figured out how to sort this out properly. I'm hoping they're going to fix it in an update. But if you press cancel, it doesn't actually cancel the print. So I'll press cancel now. It says, are you sure? Yes. And let's just see what happens. So you can see it's still climbing. We've still got a bit of temperature going on. 44.6, 44.8, 40. So it still hasn't actually cancelled, which is a little bit frustrating. So there is a way around that that I found. It's not the perfect solution, but if I can remember where it is, we go into settings, we go down to let's have a look. We get serial connection and behavior, and it says here log position on cancel. Let's not do that. Log position on pause. Let's not do that, and we'll save. Okay, so now it will cancel when you click cancel. So if I stop that print has been stopped. Okay, so we can do the update, so we will update it. Oh, I can't update while printing, so that's what I mean. At the moment, because of that bug, it still thinks we are printing. So it's the most frustrating thing I've come across. And if you do know, I don't claim to know everything at all. So if you do know how to stop that, I would greatly appreciate it if you would hit the comments below and tell me where I'm going wrong on that, because like I say, don't know everything, and it is just quite annoying. Yeah, just a bit frustrating. So we can get around that just we will reconnect and see what's going on. So that's better. So just reconnect, unplug, reconnect, and that sorts that out. And because we've unticked those other things now, if I was to reprint this, yeah, let's give it a go. So I reprint this one, stabilizing. Should be able to hit cancel straight away. You sure? Yes. Let's see if that works. So we've got a time lapse was ready. So we go to time lapses. We can see we've got some time lapses. Obviously we haven't printed anything yet, but there are time lapses that you can download. You can change the frames per second when it's not printing, and so on and so forth. Let's get the update done. And we can sort out those bugs a little bit later on. Okay, so let's see if we can update. It says, are you sure you want to update now? Yes, we'll proceed, and it will run the update and get that sorted out. Okay, so yeah, comment below, let me know how you're finding OctoPrint, if you've got any tips and tricks that I haven't covered in this video that you think other people would find useful. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps me out and supports the channel, so much appreciated. So once this finishes updating, it will restart the Pi. It will give you a little warning. And yeah, so install for OctoPrint started. I will try and do another video on how to set up the remote connection so that you can remote in from other locations, although I don't recommend leaving your printer unattended under any circumstances. Especially if you haven't updated the firmware with the thermal runway, so sometimes it can start to overheat and keep going, which isn't great, so you need to sort out your firmware on that. Okay, so that's reloaded. I wonder if with an update it has fixed that cancel issue. I wonder if it made any changes to that. Yeah. But yeah, so you've got a little time lapse. Obviously there's nothing, hasn't really done anything yet, but yeah, I hope this has been helpful and you've got something from this video. If you have, like, subscribe and share.